Hey folks, Matt here with BaseMap coming at you for podcast episode number 4. And it's been a few weeks, probably almost a month since I did one of these, so I'm catching up. But we had a lot of stuff going on, and we moved into a house we've been building. Finally, that took forever, way too long. And then we had grandparents down. Had them down, spent a lot of time with our kids, and it was great to see them and catch up. We also had a string of bad weather, a lot of snow here. And you know what? Speaking of bad weather, we got 9 inches of rain over the weekend, Friday and Saturday here in Arkansas. Happy to report that the basement was dry, drain tile worked, and all of the diversions of the downspouts worked. So, whew, been a wild one. A note on those grandparents, it is great to have them down, and it got me thinking about how, my dad and my wife's father both really influenced me growing up hunting. You know, for all of you parents out there, you have a big influence on your children, and one of the best ways to instill just kind of that hunting ethic is taking them out and showing them the ropes and letting them learn under your tutelage. So, encourage everyone to get out there. It's a lasting impact. They may find themselves in the outdoor space someday because of it. Um, I know it's a big reason why I'm doing what I do, because I just, spent so much time in my youth fishing and hunting and just enjoying the outdoors. It started off with squirrel hunting, and then it turned into deer hunting. I can still remember um, the anticipation of my dad coming home every night during a Minnesota deer opener, just hoping to see a deer in the back of the truck. We run out there and try to look in the tailgate, before he's practically parked, hoping that there'd be a deer in there. And then, as I got older, learning how to duck hunt and going out duck hunting with my father-in-law and having him kind of teach me the ropes of, you know, doing some jump shooting and finding some different little patches of water to go hunt. So all that has been great and stuck with me forever. Um, so yeah, get out there, teach your kids how to hunt, teach your nephews and nieces, and anybody who's interested, by all means, pass that tradition on. So, all right, enough of my get off my high stool here and talk about draw deadlines. All right, so draw deadlines. Um, Antelope, sorry, not antelope. What am I talking about? Colorado draw deadlines, Montana draw deadlines. Those are passed. So those deadlines hit April 1st. If you wanted to hunt in Colorado, don't worry, you have plenty of opportunities still. You got a second draw in Colorado, you got leftover tags, you got over the counter hunts. Plenty of opportunities still if you want to hunt in Colorado. Even in Montana, obviously, if you're a resident, there's a lot of over the counter opportunity. If you're a non resident, there are some over the counter hunts. They're typically listed as an unlimited license. They're not going to be hunts for bucks or bulls, typically, if you're looking at deer and elk. They're usually going to be cow hunts. You might find a buck or bull hunt in there, but generally it's going to be a cow or doe tag. But still opportunity to get out in the field, put a little meat in the freezer, and enjoy the great outdoors. And then there are just an endless number of other deadlines coming up. So these are all Western hunt deadlines. Obviously, you folks in the East, you got your turkey and your white-tailed deer, and those are for the most part over the counter still, thankfully. But I'm sure we'll see more of those move to draw. But other deadlines coming up throughout the West that you need to be thinking about. Kansas, if you're non-resident, you want to apply to hunt whitetail. Those deadlines are coming up. Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, California, Arizona, fall hunts, and then Nebraska. All those deadlines yet to come. So if you haven't checked out the BaseMap Hunt Planner, check that out. We put a lot of work into it, and it is a great tool to find hunts. So I'll do a quick demo and show you how to find some Utah hunts. All right, I got the old hunt planner pulled up here. Bad Wi-Fi signal out here. All right, I'm going to hit hunts on the bottom left-hand corner, and that'll pull up the hunt planner. And then if you've been in the hunt planner already, the last time you left the hunt planner, your whatever you're searching for will still be there. So I was in Oregon, looking at some hunts there. All right, so I'm gonna do Utah. Let's say we're looking at elk hunts there, and we're resident. So you're gonna get filtered down to the units that have limited draw hunts, and then if you want to dive deeper and apply some more filters, down in the bottom of your screen, you got a list and the filter button. You can hit the filter button on the right, and that'll get you into the filter panel. In Utah, you've got basically, 50% of your hunts go to max bonus point holders. So in that sense, it acts just like a preference point system. And then 50% are randomly drawn, but still using the bonus points. So the more bonus points you have, the better your odds of drawing are going to be. But if you have points, you can go ahead and, set your point number. So let's say we've got 4 points. We've been, applying or for 4 years and unsuccessful, or just purchasing those points. And yeah, let's say we're going to do max bonus point, and we only want to see a hunt that we require 4 to draw. Whew, only 1. How about that? There you go. Let's look at it. What do we got going on here? Wasatch. It looks like. So here you can dive in, see some unit information, tap on your hunt options, see more about the actual hunts. Got your nice apply for code there for filling out your application, and you'll see your bonus point odds for the last couple of years, your max bonus point odds, and then also your bonus point odds as well. So that's your bonus point odds drawn at 4 points. It updates for that, and you can see it's kind of been all over the place. It was 7, now it's 4, so that can change. And then success rate and harvest stats. So great quick way to easily be able to filter down and see hunts. And then obviously if you want to check out more hunts, let's go back to the map here. And what else did I say? We got let's say we're interested in hunting, Oregon. Let's go back there. So you could be looking at hunting some Roosevelt elk, and let's say you want over the counter and you're going to be a non-resident. Again, super quick to see those units. And then if you want to dive in, you can just click on any unit on the map, and that'll give you the details on that unit. And then you can pull that up and start to dive through and, see what sort of info we got on that particular unit. So, all right. So outside of, all those different draw opportunities and draw deadlines, here's another little piece of info you got to think about. Utah, for instance, increased non-resident prices, or will be increasing non-resident fees. So that seems to be a general trend throughout the West, and also we're starting to see that in the East as well. So whether it's price increases or limiting opportunity, that just generally seems to be the way things are going. Arkansas, for instance, we moved to limiting the non-resident turkey take to, I think, 1 per non-resident. And then you also have to, buy a permit this year, which that's true for residents as well. Kansas last year moved their turkey hunts from over the counter to a draw. And I suspect we'll continue to see more of this as time goes by. So here's one for you to ponder as you're thinking about, increasing, there's this trade-off. You increase non-resident license fees, and that has a subsidy effect for residents. So resident, you can typically keep your resident costs lower. A lot of people think that increasing the non-resident fee somehow gives more opportunity to residents, but that's not true. Because, in most of the states, it's, let's say, a 10% fix for the number of licenses that non-residents could draw. Could be a little bit more, it might be 20%, but that's just a fixed percentage, right? And so increasing the non-resident fee doesn't do anything. There's still plenty of demand. You could probably increase the price of these licenses to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and I don't think that you would kill all of the non-resident demand that you would have tags left over to give to residents. The only way you're going to solve that problem is just to not give as many tags to non-residents. So, but it does allow you to keep resident prices lower and continue to fund your state game and fish agencies. Anyways, that gets me to my point that I've thought about for a number of years now. There was a constitutional challenge to whether or not it was, constitutionally okay to charge non-residents these much higher fees compared to residents. And I believe that was a Montana case, maybe back in the 80s. And where the court came down on is they basically said, look, yeah, this is interstate commerce. It's a federal issue, but hunting is a privilege, not a right. It's not a fundamental right, right? It's not something laid out in the Bill of Rights or something like that, or the Constitution, and therefore it's perfectly fine to charge hunters from out of state a higher fee, a much higher fee than what you charge residents. Now, we have this wave of momentum going across the United States where different states are passing constitutional rights to hunt and fish. And a lot of us hunters and fishermen, if you ask us, like, is that a fundamental right that you think humans should have? We would say, heck yeah, you better believe it is. But if we did that at a federal level, you couldn't charge non-residents a higher price anymore. That'd be a problem. So think about that one. Anyways, on to the next topic. It's also springtime. We got turkey hunting coming up, and as I've moved into this new property, it's a property that we've owned for several years. So I've hunted out here. We've got about 40 acres, but I haven't lived on it. So only while I'm out here do I really get to experience it, or have I really experienced it while hunting. But now I'm living here, so I get to see everything every day. So I've been moving around different areas with my boy on the property, putting up a trail camera, and just kind of letting it sit for a couple days, seeing what we can find on it, spots where I think deer might be moving. And I think spring's a great time to really start to understand your property, go out, shed hunt, and whether it's a piece of property you own, some private land, or public land that you plan on hunting later in the fall, or turkey hunting in the spring, like get out there and start exploring. It's cool to watch the changes in the flora and fauna throughout the season. So we've been setting up a trail camera. I'll post our first video of that. I'll tag that onto this podcast. But we started at one spot where I'm thinking about putting up a stand. It's kind of a funnel. You'll see in the app how I'm using the terrain slope angle layer on there, and you'll be able to see like right where that funnel is. And I'm thinking about putting a stand that would be able to overlook into the funnel. It's got some nice cedar trees that provide cover, so I think the deer move through there, possibly more so in the fall than right now. But we set it up for 3 days. We got a deer the very first day that we set it up. That was exciting. My boy really thought that was awesome. But then it was nothing. So we moved it a little bit further down and away to more of a flat that kind of an oak flat, and nothing there for 3 days. And then further down on the property, there's a spot where I'm kind of on a hill, and it just continues to decline about 150 feet to the from the little mountain we're on down to the edge of my property. And as you get closer to the edge of the property, there's a little plateau on the south side, and it's maybe an area that's like 10 feet up above from where we have some kind of natural runoff, and then it's maybe 30 or 40 feet radius. So it's just a nice little plateau, and it's pretty clear there. There's not a lot of the tree growth there is pretty open. It might have been logged back in the day or cleared off at one point, but there's a lot of little shrubs in there, and they never really get higher than 2 or 3 feet. And so we set it up there, and it has just been like lightning, man. The deer are coming in there several times a day. The trail camera's going off. So it was cool to see that. I hadn't hunted that spot because I like to hunt kind of more in the center part of the property. I'm always worried about like, deer running out across the neighbors and having to go and, blood trail over onto the other property and stuff like that. So I like to hunt more in the center of my property instead of going to the boundary lines. And this area is still probably 50 yards, 75 yards from the boundary, but a lot of good deer movement there. And so one of the things that I'm going to be trying to find now that I know that they are really using this area is kind of what's the natural travel path to get down there and eat, and then we'll try to watch that behavior over the year. But it's a great time to start, setting out trail cameras and stuff like that. And I'm hoping maybe I'll catch a turkey. Maybe I can hunt my property for turkey. If not, I'll have to head a little further south to the national forest. So anyways, that's what I got going on. We'll be back next week for another episode. In the meantime, get out there, put some trail cameras out. Love to see how you're using BaseMap. Hit us up in the comments for what you got going on this spring, whether it's turkey hunts or bear hunts or shed hunting, or even just getting out and, hitting your local stream and doing some crappie fishing or hitting the spawn for white bass. So over and out. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey folks, Matt here with BaseMap, and we are out here. Theodore, what are we doing, kiddo?
Going into the house to poop.
We're putting a trail camera out for. Putting a trail camera out. Scout, what are you doing over there? Scout, hey. What are you doing? Scout's eating bones and fur that she found out here. But anyways, we're using BaseMap here to put some trail cameras out. So I'll show you what I'm doing. So we're out here, and you can see my current location. I'm right down here in what's basically a little funnel between my road and behind my house. I've got a stand right here that I'm thinking about putting called the funnel stand. And I am going to start trapping some trail camera images. So I'm going to go ahead in here, and I'm going to mark that I've got a camera at my current location. Go in here to style. All right, so I'm in here inside my markers. I'm going to scroll down underneath. Where is it? Here we go. In hunting, go down to trail camera. Trail camera right there. Mark that bad boy. And maybe scroll back up. What do you think, Theodore? What color do you want it to be? Can you see that? What color? Purple? Purple trail camera. Bam. Save it. There it is, purple trail camera. Now we can check those pictures. All right, bud, should we walk back up to the house so you can hit the bathroom?
Hit the bathroom.
All right, here we go.